One of the things I like so much about our next speaker is that he lives the life that most people dream of. He travels the world, not as much right now, of course, but he travels the world and does his thing and gets paid wherever he is. His name is Scott Paton, and he is a marketing wizard, uses the power of podcasts and other digital online events to transform people's lives. I want you to hear what he's got to say. So fasten your seatbelts for my friend, my collaborating partner, Mr. Scott Paton. So up next is the amazing, incredible Scott Paton. And I will tell you, Scott and I have done business for a while together. We actually created a podcast course together. Let me rephrase that. Scott created it and I just sort of showed up. Tell us a little bit about what you're experiencing right now. You know, are you in lockup over there, by the way?
Yeah. There's we take our passport and we look at the last number, and then we look at a chart. And if that day has our number, we can go to the grocery store, the pharmacy, and the bank. If it doesn't, then we're not supposed to go out. And actually, most people in my neighborhood are actually not going out. There are some parts of Medellin that are quite poor, and those people are going out because they got to go get food or you know, they're just living day to day.
Yeah, it's a different world when you're outside of the typical Western orientation. So yeah, and that says that's some serious lockdown. Yeah, it is. You know, here they're saying that there's $1,000 fine. I haven't seen that. I still see people out and so on, but not many. And I'm staying right now in like the center of the city, and it's really quiet, which is delightful. But what are you seeing right now? I mean, so you travel all over the world, even more than me, which is people seem to be thinking surprising. What are you seeing right now as the biggest opportunities in for you? Let's just take your experience in terms of opportunity.
Well, business has never been better. I guess that would be, you know, and it's really kind of strange because it's not because I've done any marketing. In fact, all my business is word of mouth. To me, the biggest opportunity is everybody has a chance to reflect on their life. And if you have no money in the bank and you've got furloughed or no job and you're depending on the government now to hand you money to live, you have two choices. One is to hope that continues and the government continues to pay you more than the owner of the business that you worked for, or you have to do something different. And for everybody, it's different, and it evolves and it changes. I started out on this path when I was a grocery store manager for a large Canadian and American grocery company, and decided that everybody that was 10 years older than me in my position was obese, ready to have a heart attack, or having a nervous breakdown. And I thought, 10 years from now, that's me, and I'm no smarter than these people. So, you know, when you're in a system, the system creates things. And when you look at the end creation, if you don't like it, then you need to get into a different system. So I left and I started teaching people how to turn on their computer because it was 1999. And serious lockdown that. So after that, they asked me, how do you make a website? And I didn't know, and I learned. How do you get traffic? I didn't know, and I learned. How do you get sales? I didn't know, and I learned copywriting. And then it was, how do you get to number one on Google? I didn't know, and I figured it out. And because of that, I learned to podcast. And then I spent years teaching people how to podcast. And someone said to me, you know, you should do a video course on podcasting. And I did not want to do it. But I thought, this person I have a lot of respect for, and if they say I should do something and they can see my talent, then why shouldn't I do that? So I did that, and it totally changed. Hi, Tracy. It totally changed my life, because what happened was I went from knocking on the door, do you want to do a podcast? No. Knock on the door, do you want to do a podcast? No. Knock on the door, do you want to do a podcast? No. To all of a sudden, people knocking on my door saying, I want to do a podcast, or I want to do this, or I want to do that. And of course, everything that you get known for is like the sharp part of the axe. It gets you started, and then as you keep chopping, there are other things. So I end up writing copy for people. I end up consulting with them. I end up helping them with their marketing. I end up helping them with their blogs, or making ebooks, or doing videos, or being on TV. And it just grows and grows and grows from there. And I think what everybody has to do is look at themselves, say, okay, what are my talents? What are the things that I'm good at? Can I use those talents to create an income? And then start planning it. Now, I'm traveling the world. I've done it for the last 3 or 4 years, but it was really funny to me because one of my really, really good friends from around 2000 sent me a message when I was in Kenya, and she says, "Oh, Scott, I'm so happy for you. You're living your dreams." And I thought, I've known this person for 15 years. What dream is she talking about, right? So I messaged her and I said, "Hey, what do you mean about this?" And she says, "Well, when we were together in 2003, all you talked about was what you're doing now." And I think that's another part that we have to understand is you may not be in the right place right now to live your dream, and you have to grow, you have to change, you have to evolve to get there. And once you achieve a dream, there's another dream after that. So it never ends. It always continues because we're always growing. And that's the way that it should be. So that's where I think the biggest opportunity is for us, is to really look deep and find out what will make us happy, what will create the life that we want. The last life we all had 6 months ago for many, many, like 26 million Americans, was not right, because otherwise they wouldn't be having the unemployment checks coming in, and there wouldn't be $2 trillion in bailouts going out. So we need to do something different.
And I wanted, Ken had asked you this amazing question, like, what is the opportunity in this time frame? And you actually just listed out all of these possible, trying to figure out where my hand's out, it's great, all these possible ways that you could go. You're like, I could build a website, I could do copywriting, and you just started to list all of these things. So if this is somebody who's sitting at home, an entrepreneur, or even somebody who had a job, and you've listed out all of those things, immediately a person could get total overwhelmed. So what I wanted to ask you the question is, for them, because I understand the process, because I talked about it too in my segment of like finding your passion. It's actually like, would they start with everything, or would they start with maybe one thing and understand that they're going to do it slowly?
One thing. It's too much to do everything. You can evolve into doing lots of different things, but you always want to start with doing one thing. Like, I didn't try to learn all those things at once. In fact, I didn't even know about them. You can make a website. I didn't know that, but someone asked me and I didn't know. But like a few people have said, be a problem solver. It was like, okay, this person has a problem. I don't know how to do it. One of my mentors once told me, Scott, when somebody asks you if you can do something and you can't do it, what is your answer? And the answer is yes. And then you go find out how to do it, right? Because there's someone in the world that knows how to do it, and they're not hiding. So you should be able to find them. You should be able to learn. And there's like 7,000 books published a month. So I think the knowledge is, if it's not on the web, it's in a book somewhere.
And just like you said, there's 7,000 books, there's YouTube, there's Facebook groups, there's LinkedIn groups. It's just, and what we talked about earlier is just asking for help. So when somebody's looking at you now, how long did that journey take you to go from where you were to where you're at now? So people can say, because we're in such a microwave society, we want everything now. Like, oh, I'm going to be this master copywriter, and it takes a little bit longer to do that, right?
Yeah, the smart Alex Scott answer is 63 years. Then now you know. But
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Now you can shortcut a lot of that. You don't have to wait 60 years to have the life that you want, but you need to understand what that life looks like, both physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, and financially, right? And so every year I sit down and I put those columns down and I write what I want to do at the back of my day planner, and I forget about it. And then when it comes to January, I finished the book. And of course, when you finish the book, you're at the end, and I turn the page and I go, oh, and then I check everything off that I had done unconsciously or subconsciously. And it's usually 70% of at least 100 items. So for me, it would be things like go to Kenya, go to Greece, lose 10 pounds. You know, I mean, there would just be this whole long list. And then I forget about it. And usually 70% are done by the end of the year. And of those 30% that aren't done, about 20% are things that I don't want to do now. So I thought I wanted to, but I didn't really want to do that. And then there's the ones that are always, everyone I think has something they really struggle with. And that 10 pounds has been on my list for 10 years. So basically it takes time. But hi, Cindy, it takes time, but you can short circuit it, because if you want to do something and you're really passionate about it and you're really willing to take, say, 2 hours a day and not watch Netflix and do it, then you can get a mentor that knows how to do what you want to do. And as I was traveling, one of the things that I really noticed, and it hit me the most in South America and in Kenya, to be quite honest, was how hard everybody works for no pay. And not that they got zero pay, but it was like pennies compared to how hard people work in Canada and the United States for, thousands and thousands and thousands and tens of thousands of dollars. And because in the States, we kind of have, and in Canada, I'll say, not the States, I think the States is the same, but if someone is poor or bankrupt, then they were probably lazy or something like that. I mean, there's this sort of stigma that's around it, and it gets put onto developing countries and third world countries and 23rd world countries and everything else. And it's not true. These people work way harder than I would refuse to do that work for the amount of money that they get, right? And I'm spoiled for sure, but they work really, really hard, and it really touched my heart. So I started something, and it's in the process of growing and germinating and everything else. And I wouldn't have been talking about it if it wasn't for Denise, but I call it the 500 for 500. I want to teach 500 people in Kenya how to make $500 US a month and have them be able to teach one more person. And if I do that in Kenya, and I do that in Rwanda, and I do that in Zambia, and I do that in Colombia, and I do that in Guatemala, and I do that in Vanuatu, that changes these people's lives, because that type of, and of course it could be affiliate marketing, it could be there are all sorts of different passive residual type things that you can do. And that's the other thing that I'm focusing on even for myself is, and it's hard because I am very much a work with somebody one-on-one, and when they leave, I leave, or when I leave, that income stream goes. But I have been working very hard on passive incomes. And so we want to teach them something that they can do where they are on their phone, because most of them don't have computers, or maybe they do have computers. It'd be great if it could do it on their computer, but it will bring them not just 1 month, but every month over and over and over again. And that to me is how I think we can really take over the world, change the world for the better. And that's a huge opportunity for the whole world, because we see what people in the Philippines are doing in terms of the cost of living there versus the cost of living in the States, and they're able to do all that work, right? And that's just one example.
Well, the thing too that's interesting, Scott, is that even in countries where people are poor, they're happy.
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen people like happier than the people in Bali, for example. And I was there 13 or so years ago and did a little tour, and I had a driver and a tour guide just to me. And they made like $11 a day or something. It was nothing. And they were the happiest people ever. They had their family, they had their temple, and they played tour guide, and they just they were loving their lives. They weren't taking Prozac, they weren't taking, the drug of the day. They just liked their life. And that was a huge awakening, because poverty doesn't mean unhappiness. I mean, there are a lot of people that are incredibly wealthy, but they're totally poor because they don't have.
Well, everybody in the United States is incredibly wealthy compared to 90% of the rest of the world.
Right.
Even the ones that think that they don't have a place to live, they are.
Yeah.
And I really think that one of the huge differences is TV. Our TV is constantly telling us, bad things happened. And when I was in Bali, now that you mentioned, I'm thinking, I don't really remember. Like, you can't go into a bar in Vancouver, Canada, that doesn't have 25 big screen TVs.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? And when I went into, I'm not a party. I'm past my party time age.
I heard. That's not what I heard. When you were in Miami, I was reading the paper about you.
And so I don't go into the bars that much, but I don't recall. Even the restaurants all have 3 or 4 TVs, and I don't recall seeing any TVs in Bali. They are there, obviously, but it's not like people are constantly watching it. And I was in a van driving somewhere. I forget where it was, and everybody piles in the van, and I'm kind of anti-phone, so I don't really I have a phone, but it doesn't have a SIM card, so it doesn't count, I guess. Really? And I'm thinking, like, all these young people are in this van. Like, there was about 8 of us. We're going, because it's driving us somewhere, wherever we were going. And I thought, I wonder, if they're all just going to be looking at their phones. And nobody did. They were all like, bah, 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 talk, 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 and singing along to the Spanish radio sort of thing. And it was just like, and then none of them knew each other, I don't think. Maybe 2 people did out of the 8. So when you don't have the connection to the technology that we've got, and you aren't listening to constant reruns of how bad things are, I think that makes a big difference on your attitude.
Sure it does. We talk a lot about that, and in terms of just strategy, and if you want to have a takeaway from that, it's like, just don't turn on the TV in the morning, if at all. I do some Netflix, and I'll do that. Like, when I'm making dinner, I'll put on a movie or something just to disengage my brain from something. But the bad news, when I visit friends in the States, the news comes on in the morning when I stay with them, and it just bothers me.
Yeah,
it's like, too. I gotta hide out because I just can't deal with it. So let's segue.
There's another takeaway to that, Ken, and thank you very much for mentioning it, because it reminded me, is like, we have YouTube, right? So you need to sit down and say, what do I want to learn? And so one thing I thought the other day that I would like to learn is how to be better with Final Cut Pro and video editing. So I found a channel and I subscribed to it. And so I went from watching coronavirus news conferences, 5 hours of the day, to 10 minutes of the day, and 20 minutes of watching how to do this video editing thing. And it does so much more than I had ever imagined. And so I'm learning and getting better at that. And then all that rest of the time that I was wasting, I'm now doing stuff. So it's, once your mind gets into, hey, here's something creative and interesting, you stop wasting your time on the negative, time wasting, addictive type things, because the news, the advertisers, the Netflix, but they are all experts at hooking you in. We need to complete things. That's why they have cliffhangers at the end of Ozark. It's like, I got to wait a week to find out, or I binge. So you have to stop. You have to sit down. You have to say, these are the things that I want to do. These are the things I want to learn. And understand that tomorrow you're probably not going to do it. But you keep bringing that list up. You keep thinking about it. And like, I'm on the 9th floor in a studio apartment with a huge terrace there. So I don't mind being locked in, because I go outside and it just feels like I have a 340-degree view of the city. It's gorgeous. And I'm on the 9th floor. And I thought, you know what? I need to get into shape, but I can't go for my walk. I love going for a walk. So I said, okay, I'm going to walk up instead of taking the elevator. So my goal is twice a day to go down and walk up 9 flights of stairs. So far, I'm at once a day 4 or 5 days out of the week. But
Really?
that's my progress, right? I don't expect that I'm going to do it twice a day right off the hop, because that's, your subconscious mind has to be on it. My subconscious mind's going, that was a lot of work, Scott. You're beating me up. No, so you have to do it gently and bring yourself along at your own pace. If I was 20, I'd probably be running up and doing it 5 times a day. But when it's a little bit different when you're at my age.
Okay, I could beat you up on that one because you're not that old. So that's the lie you tell yourself, my friend.
If 3 75 to 95-year-old white guys can run for president of the United States, I guess I can run up the stairs.
Thank you. So living in Bangkok, we do virtual marathons. And so we're literally running up 62-story or higher office buildings. And I've done them a few times. They're not easy, but there's plenty of people in the older guys category. And there are people that are older than me that are faster than me. So when it comes to younger people like you that are giving me the old bullshit, I'm like, no, we're not going to go there. So, you're welcome. And I will stop anybody on that, because to me, it's being a friend. And that's something I want to take away is like the lie we tell ourselves is, I can't, I shouldn't, I'm not, no. My mother is a little bit older than a lot of people, and a little bit younger than a lot of people too. I won't disclose how old she is because she is watching right now, and she knows where I live. And my mail comes to her house, so we don't want to mess around. But she's got more energy than probably anybody that's on this broadcast with us combined. She's absolutely unstoppable, and she chooses not to participate in this madness.
Good. So,
yeah, it's amazing. I feel lazy to her, and I'm called the Energizer. So, big takeaway is really our language that we tell ourselves, and we do pollute ourselves with all that media. Because remember, we love drama. And, if you take a look at the book, The Four Agreements, I'm going to start pontificating on it. It's your time. I don't want to take away from it. But that's...
Hallelujah, Ken.
Yeah. Well, you warned me. You started it earlier. So really, I want, as your friend, I want you to think younger.
Okay, thanks. Well, it was interesting listening to Han earlier because he was talking about the meditation and everything else. And one thing I think that we should be doing that we don't is doing like a mind scan of our body. So, okay, there's my brain, there are my eyes, and go right through. But as you're going through, my brain is really healthy, and you're telling it it's really healthy because every part of our body has its own intelligence, right? And I sometimes look at my life and I go, wow, like I keep telling myself all these things, and like I'm on no medication. And I don't know how many people are my age in Canada and the United States that are on no medication, because evidently the average is 5. So, right.
5?
Yeah. So, but I just think, sometimes it's like you said, it's your mind and it's what you think. And when you do it consistently, you're going to have some really interesting results.
Yeah.
Look at my life.
Whoa, hang on a minute. I was trying to watch you on the iPad at the same time.
You want to get a double dose of me? Awesome.
I have a double. There you go. Yeah, there you go.
Like you said, it's your mind and it's what you think.
Yeah, I'll make you quiet. No, actually, there's people that are trying to get in to watch this, and that are sending messages saying that they're trying to find the link. So
I was one of those people. I was like,
yeah. So I'm trying to multitask and do that a little bit too. When people do sign up, it takes about a minute or two for Infusionsoft to send them the link to where they want to go. So yeah, but yeah, today it's been a very busy day with everyone trying to hear us, which is fantastic. So yeah, so what we got to do, just so we can stay on time, is let's just do what would you say is the number one opportunity lesson that you want people to take away today?
Wow, the number one opportunity lesson would be, despite the fact that none of us are allowed out of our houses, or here in Medellin we're not, is there still, you can do whatever you want. you can learn whatever skills you want to learn. And I think it's really important that you spend time constantly learning, right? Which means reading books or watching tutorials. And sooner or later, you're going to find things that you really love to do. Then the question isn't like photography, for example. You can make a lot of money with photography and you can go broke with photography. And that's the same of any industry. But if you really, really love it, then do it for the love and then start figuring out ways that you can make money. Like, for example, one of the things I've been thinking about and I'm going to do is I've taken thousands of photographs, right? And I figure if I go through them, I could probably find 12 that are exceptional and I could make a calendar.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so, and then you put that up on Amazon and all of a sudden, the 2020-21 calendar gets sold. So
I'm going to tell you that works because I met a guy named Claude. He was with us a day or two ago on one of our previews, as a matter of fact, saying hello. And I met him in Cambodia, in Siem Reap, Cambodia. And yeah, he's a photographer. But he does an annual calendar. And actually it's a big deal, his calendars. And then he trades stocks, and that's his
right.
gig. He's been traveling 20 plus years. So 100% agree. 100%
yeah.
agree.
So the other thing with photography is you could take videos. And we're now at the stage where you can actually put your videos up on Amazon and Apple and Roku and YouTube and all sorts of different places where they might pay you, 50 cents 1,000 views or something like that. And if you only have one video up, it's not a big deal. But if you have thousands of videos up, and let's say you just did virtual tours of different parts of your city, you don't even really have to travel, away you go. So as an example, there are more birds in Colombia than any other country in the world. Unfortunately, where I am right here, there are only pigeons. But in another place I was staying the last time I was here, on the second floor, they had this huge balcony thing with a hammock seat. So I'm sitting there, I'm reading my book in the morning, and the birds are coming onto this platform on a tree where she's put fruit, right? And so I'm sitting there. It's just so idyllic, right? So one day I got my camera out and I did an hour and a half recording of the birds just flying down, chomping on a Colombian fruit and leaving. And there was no soundtrack. It was just the birds and the wind. Yeah. And I put it up on Roku just to see, right? I called it Birds of Colombia. So if you have Roku, go to search for Birds of Colombia. You'll see these birds coming out of this tree. And that's what I made. Subscribe. There's no way for me to make any money on it. There's no commercials. There's no nothing. I just wanted to see. And I've had thousands and thousands and thousands of views and watches for hours and hours and hours. And I'm just amazed. And I thought, wow, so I think when I go anywhere, I should set up my camera and do like an hour video of the beach or an hour video if they're around the birds, right? And I'll just keep putting them up. And if I do it if you do it on Amazon Prime, they'll actually pay you pennies per minutes watched or something like that. And they always reduce the amount. So it's not, I don't look at it as a full-time, I don't treat it as a full-time income. I suppose you definitely could get it up there. It's just volume. But the Amazon pays me $50 a month, and they've paid me $50 a month for 5 years, very consistently for the 5 or 6 or 7 hours of video content that I put up on their Amazon Prime. And it's really weird, right? And I keep thinking, I should go do a bunch more and everything else. Yeah. But I thought for sure that it would go up and then it would just go down, 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 down. And it hasn't. It's been consistent. So I know if I put more stuff up, you'd make more money. So, and it's residual because you just do it once and then they pay you forever.
That's amazing. Scott, that's awesome. I haven't even thought about that. We have got to bolt. We're way off right now on our time. Thank you so much, my friend, for being here.
And Ken, I really want to acknowledge you for putting this all together, leading this opportunity-a-thon, and the way that you've always been so giving. Really appreciate and love you too, buddy.
Ladies and gentlemen, one of the sharpest guys I know, the amazing Casey Eberhardt. Hey, Case.
Hey, Ken, how are you?
I'm glad you're here.
It's so funny. Usually I'm down in Sydney and you're off in like Thailand. And now it's weird that I'm in Los Angeles and you're in my second home.
It's true. It's true. And you and I are like ships in the night, because when we were speaking together for Brendan, I would do the front end, you would do the back end, and we would never be in the same room at any given time. You know, but I conspired, because getting hold of you and to get you in one place to talk, not easy. So we booked you for this. So now it's our conversation is kind of the deal here.
Exactly. You know, it's just, you know, it's the nature of the beast. It's when you have a packed schedule and a packed calendar, it sometimes makes dealing with friends more difficult, only because in the case of you and I, it's like, oh, I can call Ken later. Or, oh, I can call Ken later. Or, oh, I can call Ken later. And then later never comes because you get so booked in. So, you know, we'll talk a little bit about that today in terms of like networking and really maintaining and building those relationships with your peers, with your prospects, and with your customers, and ultimately with other influencers.
Yeah, it will, and you excel at that. You have a great tenacity for being able to connect with people. So let's talk about where you see that going and what you see. We have people that are in significant amounts of pain, frozen in their fear. We have people that are in dire need of money, because most people, certainly in the States, what are the statistics right now? They're like 2 paychecks away from bankruptcy. Businesses are 3 weeks away from being out of business. The SBA says it's 72% of businesses won't last through the month without income. That's with their doors shut down. So there's some really crappy statistics. So what recommendations do you have?
Well, look, you know, at the end of the day, here's kind of just my sort of core philosophy, and that is that connectivity is today's new currency. Okay. So if you, as a business owner, understand that your currency that we trade in today is connectivity, far and above and away what your product, good, or service is, everything else tends to be okay. So my philosophy is really about always building relationships, adding value to those relationships, getting to the point where when somebody calls me or I call them, I'm a green button person on my phone rather than a red button person. And we all know those red button people. They're the people that when you call, you immediately hit that red button.
Yep.
So as a business owner, what we teach and train in our internal, in the portfolio of businesses that I participate in, or own or whatever, our philosophy is we want our sales reps, we want our people, we want our customers to feel connected to us. And we're going to do everything we can to build those relationships and to stay in that connectivity loop. So right now we're all hanging out at home, wherever that is, right? And it is fascinating to me the number of businesses that have stopped marketing, have stopped reaching out, have stopped connecting and communicating with their customers. And what they're really doing, unfortunately, is they're letting like someone like Kevin, who was just on your show, walk in and steal those customers because his group is out in the forefront of staying connected to people. And other businesses are like, oh, it's time to like cry and whine. I'm going to lean back and I'm going to post yoga pant videos and I'm going to bitch. And at the end of the day, the companies that are out in the forefront, still following up, still marketing, still connecting, still staying in touch, are the ones that are going to win. And here's why, Ken. The reality is that habits are being reformed right now.
Yeah.
I don't know about
Yes.
you. I live in Los Angeles. We're on full lockdown.
Yeah.
Full lockdown. I used to love going to the grocery store. Incredibly inefficient for what I do for a living, but I loved going to the grocery store. It was the time where my phone didn't work. I know where everything is. I could go on with a list. It was fantastic. Right now, I haven't been to a grocery store in 2 months. I now have everything delivered to my house. I don't leave the house other than to go for a walk. And that's a new habit. When we come out of this, my grocery store has lost a customer. Why? because the new types of grocery stores have helped me reformulate a habit and have kept me in the habit. So when we come out of this on the other side, new habits of our customers are going to be formed.
Yeah, that's true.
They're looking right now, right? We've got people watching this right now that are looking for a new opportunity, right? I was listening to Kevin right before us, and I was like, my gosh, you got a lot of people that are stay-at-home moms right now that now they're going nuts. Oh, that their kids are at home. They might want a sales job. People are looking for an opportunity, whatever that is, in a variety of different places. And those businesses and those entrepreneurs that are out in front of still staying connected, still networking, are the ones that are going to come out of this thing like unscathed. I mean, it's really interesting. I've listened to several of the speakers, and it's kind of interesting to me that a lot of a lot of entrepreneurs are busier now than they were in February.
Yeah.
And I'll just use myself as an example. I should have bought stock in Zoom years ago, but the reality is I am busier now than I was before. And I'm actually more efficient because I'm not on airplanes. I'm not in airports. I'm not flying around. I can do just as much in Zoom or in StreamYard or in any other platform, even a Facebook Live.
Yeah.
And now's the time to stay connected more than ever before.
Yeah.
And that doesn't just mean, by the way, email. And I'm sorry, Ken, it just doesn't mean just email. Email open rates are plummeting.
Yeah.
So
right.
80, 90% of your work goes unnoticed. How about sending your customer a box of brownies or a cup of coffee or a nice card or a water bottle or a text that says thank you or a Facebook. I mean, there's a gazillion different things you can do. Sorry, I'm off on a tangent. It's been
but you and I have been having that conversation for a while, and in fact, you spanked me last time we spoke, so it's fair. And we've talked multi-channel. That multi-channel approach works. It's not just a phone call. It's not just a billboard, or it's not just a newspaper ad, or it's not just it's everything.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. This is, and I consult for a lot of businesses. I work with a lot of folks. I saw that we were trying to have Roland Frasier in here. I'm super fortunate to be really good friends with all those guys, and I'm around digital marketers. I'm around marketers. I'm around business owners and entrepreneurs and CEOs like all day long. It's all I deal with, and I am constantly perplexed by the number of business owners that only communicate with their network or their customers in the way that they want to be communicated with, meaning the CEO or the entrepreneur, versus realizing and understanding that our customers may not want to play on the same platform. And I'll give you a perfect example.
Yep.
I am a Facebook Messenger and chat person. Mm-hmm. Facebook Messenger and text.
Yep.
Ken, I know you love Skype.
Not anymore, but yes, you're
right. My friend Bijal, who's coming up next right after me, he loves the WhatsApp. Loves it.
Yep.
I don't play on WhatsApp, right? I love going into my mail. I'm a busy dude. Somebody sends me something in the mail, it gets opened 100% of the time, right? But if you're only sending emails, I got news for you. You got 90% of your work going unnoticed. So so whatever you spend per lead to put on your email list, you got to times it by 10. That's your true cost, because that's what it's costing you to get somebody to actually read your message. Right? So when I meet someone, I mean, I've got an entire process, right? So if I meet Ken face to face, and I don't know if this is appropriate, Ken, but I'm going to share it anyways. I like having stuff that people can actually walk away with and do. So
that's our deal.
If I meet you at a live event or even on a Zoom, I know that I have to stay connected to you 3 or 4 different ways. So what am I going to do? I'm going to take a selfie in the real world. In a Zoom world, I'm going to take a picture of you and I together. I'll probably do a selfie like this. I'm then going to text you the picture. So I'm going to say, Ken, what's your text number? You're going to give it to me. I'm going to text you my picture, right? Vijal's on here. I can't wait. He's up next. Super excited. Hashtag Casey Wilson. Love it. I'm
Yeah, I
going
love
to text you that picture, and I'm going to say, hey, Ken, it was great to meet you on Opportunity Thon. I can't wait for us to connect later. And the reason I text that picture to you, and the reason is because I know that later when I text you again, I'm not going to be programmed in your phone. And if I didn't text you the picture, you may not even remember me. But if I text you the picture of you and I together, and now I text you a second time a week later to stay in touch, and you open it and go, who's this guy? You open it up. It's an immediate go, oh, yeah, I remember that dude.
Yeah.
And
That's
that starts.
That's smart.
You know, and then
That-
I'm going to take that picture. I'm going to take that picture. I'm going to put that on social media and tag you in it. I'm then going to also put it on a card or a water bottle or a box of brownies, and I'm going to send it to you. And then I'm going to send that same picture to you in Skype, connect with it on LinkedIn, and thus that cycle starts to continue. I mean, look, now I got to shut up because Raquel's in the room. And you know, when Raquel's in the room, you got to stay sharp and just shut up and listen. Hey, girl.
Hey, how are you doing? So Casey didn't know I was here, but I want to tell you that there's so much opportunity, and it is about connecting. It totally is. And I got connected from Casey through meeting somebody who met somebody who met somebody who led me to Casey. And Casey very much walks his talk, because I would come home from a trip and here it says Casey, and then you open up the box.
You go, girl.
Oh yeah.
I love it.
Huh.
So, no, facts, right? A thank you card,
Yeah.
right? How often do you get like a box with goodies and a thank you card? And in the thank you card is a letter. Yeah. Like, how amazing is that? Now, I'm going to ask you, because people will be like, oh, Casey, did you know that I was going to be on the Opportunity Thon as a co-host?
No, I did not. No, not at all. I mean, let me say this. I've watched part of it. So I've seen you in here, but you know, it's
I'm a latecomer.
You're a latecomer. I get it. I can still remember doing your radio show in Las Vegas. It was one of the most fun podcast radio shows I've ever done and ever had the pleasure to hang out with. You was just absolutely awesome. So, I mean, and what's funny is when you start networking and you start building connections with movers and shakers and players and influencers. I mean, I've known Raquel for years. I've even watched both of us change careers. I've even run into Raquel wandering through halls of airports and hotels where we were speaking at completely different events, not even knowing we were at events.
We're like, oh my gosh, there he is, Black. And we're like, oh my God. That was crazy, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's look, here's the thing. I want you guys to just look at Raquel's face right now. Look at her face right now. What she is talking about is an experience on how somebody made her feel, her emotion, and she is going to change to make decisions from her head to her heart because of how somebody made her feel with a 50-cent greeting card, a 50-cent thank you card, a $5 box of brownies.
And here's the thing too.
And brownies is love. I just need to say that.
Wait. Is that, well, chocolate is always love. Chocolate is like straight to the bedroom. But here's the thing. Is that greeting card going to get, it's true. Is that greeting card going to get thrown away? No. Because nobody does it. Because nobody does
that anymore. And it's about, right. And it's even about what Kevin had spoke about. You want to be different. You want to be the unicorn in the environment. Like, who sends people stuff like, so, and I am wheels up, wheels down, here, there, and everywhere, just like Casey, just like Ken. And when I come home and you open up the mailbox and you have something that's not a bill and it's brownies and it's a thank you card, you're like, yeah! You're like, you, this is the first thing that you open when you get in your house, but it's about connection. And that is not the only box of brownies that Casey has sent me. He just periodically will think about me and send me brownies. Hint, hint.
All right. You need to stop it. Because I have not gotten brownies from him, so you need to go.
Oops, I'm sorry.
You're moving around from Thailand to Australia to America to doing tours. It's just as hard to chase you down. That's the problem.
That's true. That is true. That is true. It's like no one knows where the hell I am. So, and by the way, I don't know where we are time wise because I want to be mindful. And I know Bijal, you guys are kind of tag teaming, but I want to make sure that we're mindful of that and respectful of it. So if someone's keeping track of our time, that would be really good because I'm completely lost right now.
Yeah. So
okay,
look, Ken, here's the thing. At the end of the day, here's where this all really comes down. If you always add value to somebody, everything else will work itself out. That I learned that when I was 5 years old, working in my granddad's antique store, and that is that connectivity, the ability to make somebody feel amazing. Without sounding like a douchebag, the return on making your customers feel amazing is exponential because most businesses operate on word of mouth referrals. I do trainings all over the world, and I'll be speaking in front of 2,000, 5,000, 10,000 people or 100 people, and I'll say, stand up if your business requires at least 80% word of mouth referrals. Everybody in the room usually stands up. And then I'll say, great, sit down if you cannot tell me who your top 3 referrers are by true revenue data. The whole room sits down. Maybe 1 or 2 will stand up to be snarky. I'll say, great. If I go and pick up your phone right now, are those 3 referral partners in your phone? And if I call them, what will they tell me how you make them feel? And then they just get all freaked out, almost always. And I go, well, here's the deal. Here's the disconnect. The disconnect is birds of a feather flock together. If you have raving fans in your business, they are going to bring their friends and family who are most likely to buy your product, good, or service. But yet you're not even able to tell me who those people are by data, not just by, oh, well, yeah, I think Ken sends me this. And I think Joni sends me this. I want to know by data, number 1. And number 2, people want to just be made to feel special. So if you are not out there making your customers feel awesome, you know who is? Your competition.
Yeah.
The people that can spend more to make your customer feel better about themselves is always going to win 100% of the time. 100% of the time. If you have a competitor and they outspend you in making your customer feel amazing and awesome, you will lose eventually.
Yeah. It's customer experience. It's always been customer experience. It's, people want to feel good. And you know what, though? It's not just even business. Think about it at home. If you are not reinforcing your spouse, significant other, boyfriend, girlfriend, even your dog, they're going to find someone else.
Yeah.
You got to take care of it. And you've been doing this for a long, long time, Case, because I followed you from like send out cards to banner season and so on. And it makes so much sense. And back in the old days, long before Al Gore invented the internet, when I was in the real estate business, we would buy these I forget the name of the company, but these these reminder cards, we'd buy a subscription of them. But that was so passive, it was meaningless.
Yeah.
But at least it was something. Now the technology that is available.
I mean, Ken, look, I can send out a coffee mug. Now, I know if you're listening to this, and I'm holding up a coffee mug that says you make a difference on it and the name is on it, right?
Yeah.
Well, for $10, I can send this to someone. How is Raquel going to feel when she gets home from a long week on tour, long couple of weeks out on tour? She's been dealing with tons of angry promoters and irritating customers and irritating audience members. And she comes home and there's a box there and it has a coffee mug in it and says, you make a difference. And it has her name on it.
She's going to love it.
She's going to love it.
She's going to love it.
And ultimately, next time when I call Raquel and I say, hey, Raquel, I have something that I want you to take a look at. I know she's at least going to give me the opportunity to take a look. She may not be it may not be the right product or service, but she's going to let me at least give her the overview, right?
Right. And maybe if she's not interested, would she possibly give you a referral? Absolutely. Because that happens also, because it's the law of reciprocity. The law of reciprocity says, well, maybe if we don't do business together, he's giving me brownies, he's giving me coffee cups. Ken's not even getting this type of stuff, but I am.
I know.
I know. Sorry, Ken. Yeah. I am sharper.
But you know what? But you know what? I'm visiting Sydney now, and you're not.
I know. I'm stuck in Las Vegas and it's closed. But it goes back to the point is it's about the connection is made. And from the moment I met Casey, we were connected. And it's crazy because I met Casey in a totally different venue, and I'm finding that we have a whole multitude of friends because like finds like, which is what Casey said. So even if somebody says, "Hey, thank you, but that's not for me," you could get the referral. And that happens all the time, right?
All the time. Listen, connectivity is today's new currency. So Suze even commented on this, and this is so true. It's great to make your customers feel amazing. Thanks, Raquel. It's great to make your customers feel amazing. If it's a whole nother level when you start making your staff feel amazing, when you reach out and apply these same principles to your vendors. I mean, guys, a stupid $10 coffee mug or an $8 thing of brownies that gets you in the door to a CEO of a vendor that's giving you a rough time, massive. I mean, truth be told, I should probably keep my mouth shut on this because I don't know if he's watching. But my credit card processor, the company that runs all of the credit cards through our businesses, sorry. A stupid water bottle with he's a big football, I think. I'm not a sports guy, but a football thing. So I put his team logo on a water bottle with his name on it and sent it to him. He, out of the kindness of his heart, gave me a quarter point or a half point discount on all my processing. For those of you that have credit card processing, a half point discount on your processing over a $30 water bottle.
Oh, yeah.
DTM. Do the math.
Yeah.
Do the math.
Yeah. And I said that.
Can I just jump in? Because I have to, we're all not only talking about business relationships, connectivity, but your house has to be correct. I want people to understand that domestic abuse is actually exponentially on the rise. Imagine if, seriously, that same coffee cup or that same brownie, your significant other, your kids, they're your number one client, right? If you can treat people good outside of the house, people good that are inside of the house, a little goes a long way. And Ken had just mentioned that it's that important. So not only think about doing this in business, but think about doing this in your home life with the people that you also love.
Absolutely. And look, here's the thing. Guys, just going back to this staying connected to different things, I want to just use another example. I want to share just a quick story. I was speaking at an event in Las Vegas, actually, at the world's largest wedding professional show, Wedding.mp4. It's a massive, massive show. And I was doing this presentation and I looked around and the room was fairly older in age. Okay. So we had I think there were about 1,000 people in the room this day. And I don't know why it just hit me in the middle of it. I was trying to explain this whole idea where not everybody wants to pick up the phone. Not everybody wants to be on the Facebook. Not everybody knows TikTok, right? So I said, how many of you are grandparents? And almost everybody raised their hand. And I said, how many of you would like to stay better connected to your grandkids? And they all raised their hand. I said, awesome. Everybody turn your phone on. I said, how many of you try to call your grandkids and you get irritated when they don't pick up the phone? Almost everybody raises their hand. I said, awesome. Everybody turn your phones on because I want to hear them beep. And I'd like you to just take out your phone and text your grandkids. Text your grandkids. Just say, hey, I'm sitting in this venue or I'm just sitting in this workshop and I just was reaching out and say, I love you. I hope you're doing well. Whatever it is. So they all are doing this, right? Literally, Ken, within 30 seconds, you just hear and just you hear a wave of people receiving text back from their grandkids. And I knew what was going to happen. So I actually started laughing. And I actually said, open the back doors because here's what happened. All these grandparents got up and they ran outside the room because in their minds, they thought their grandkids actually wanted to talk to them on the phone. That's not how their grandkids think. Their grandkids could be on a ski lift. They could be smoking weed. They could be on, at their girlfriend or boyfriend's house, whatever. They communicate via text, quick, short, quick text. Yeah. Right? Grandparents want to get on the phone and chit chat and or whatever the phone thing is. So going back to how we kind of started this and saying, look, they want to be communicated with text, right? So I want to leave you with, so anyway, it's just a funny story to see how different people connect with people differently. I know that if I'm calling somebody older, then I'm going to have a better likelihood of they're going to join me or buy my product, good, or service if I'm on the phone with them. If they're younger, they probably are more online. If they're under 18, they're probably on Snap or TikTok. Sorry. If they skew a little older, they're on maybe on Facebook. If they are a visual or I'm selling something visual, I'm going to probably be on Pinterest or Instagram. It is so important as you build out your network. I'll kind of just throw this at you, Ken. And I know you got Bijal coming up here. So I just say, when you guys are out networking and you're meeting people, here's the thing. Go talk to the influencers. There's 5 people I talk to at every type of an event. It's the same 5 people everywhere I go. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Speakers, the reason speakers, they listen, watch how just in this, I've highlighted Raquel, I've highlighted Kevin, I've highlighted Bijal, I've highlighted Ken throughout this whole thing.
Yep.
That's why you want to get to know the speakers. I do research on speakers before I go to an event so that I have something to talk to about when I show up at the event. It's why I can go into a room and people know me very quickly, because I've already done my research on the speaker. I have a dossier on every speaker before I ever go to an event. The organizer of the event, I'm buddies with Ken. I'm buddies with Dean. I know these guys because I've built relationships with the organizers. They know everyone. They're the ones making the decisions who the speakers are. If Ken introduces me to another speaker here, that will have more impact than if I just go try to introduce myself. The organizers or the promoters, they're doing a warm introduction for you is massive, right? I know. Somebody said they liked that I was doing a rotary phone. I was going like this for a phone. I forgot that it was even like this, and then it was like this, and then it was like this with the little phone. And then, anyways, and then the other last 3 people I always talk to are the 3 biggest yap jobs, the 3 biggest influencers in the room. And the reason is that is more important to me than trying to find my ideal client at a networking event. I am looking for the big picture relationship, influencer relationships and contacts, rather than one person who's at an event who's trying to sell their crap. They're not there to buy my crap. So why am I trying to sell my crap to somebody there that's not there to buy anything? They're there trying to sell their crap. Go help them sell stuff. I walk into an event. I don't take business cards. I don't take any of that crap. I'm not there to sell anything. I'm there to build relationships and find some people that I think are really cool. Yeah. It's why when I look at a speaker list of this event, out of the 55 people, I know about 40 of them.
Sure.
Not because I'm good looking. I mean, look at me. I've got the face for radio. It's because I understand the power of being in front of the person of influence. In this case, Ken, right? I've known Ken for many, many years. And like we talk, we hang out when we're in the same thing. It's not a, what can I get from you, Ken? What can I get from you, Ken? It's the things that go on between the time you need a sale or between the time you're going to make a pitch that's the most critical and the most important. And I just think so many people, if they would focus, I'll finish with this, Ken, because I know we're running a little bit over. Yep. Here's the thing, guys. There are 3 buckets of customers in every one of your businesses. Current customers, past customers, and new customers. The easiest group of people to sell to are your current customers. The second group of people that are easiest to sell to are your past customers, the ones that already left. They used to know you, they used to like you, they used to trust you, but for whatever reason, you probably dropped the ball and they left. They didn't know you cared. So the guy or the gal down the street showed them. So it's pretty easy to get some of those folks back. Yep. The hardest group of people to sell stuff to, you guys, are the brand new people. Yet I ask you, where do you think most businesses spend 90% of their time, energy, money, and resources trying to find new people? Whereas if you would go make raving fans out of your current customers, show them that you care, offer them more solutions to problems that they might be having, easy. Bring back, have a win back program. Send them some brownies and say, hey, we jerked this thing up. Come on back. We love you. And finally, Ken, you're awesome. Thank you for having me.
I love you. You are, and I'll tell you, you did exactly what I asked you to do. You actually exceeded what I asked you to do. Because what I asked people to do is give me tangible things that we can put into action immediately that will provide tangible results, and that's exactly what you did. And I'm not surprised, because that's just who you are, and I appreciate that. But I started out. Hey, I'm Ken Krell, one of your World Love Week hosts, and I got to tell you, this next session you're going to hear is going to blow your mind. One of the favorite people I've been speaking with over the past years is up next, and I want to make sure you stay tuned, fasten your seatbelts, take lots of notes, and get ready to have a great time. Now, one thing I want to remind you of is that if you haven't gotten your VIP All Access Pass, now would be the best time to secure that by going to worldloveweek.com/dashboard. There's a button right there to upgrade to VIP All Access. Now, why should you do that? Well, there's a few reasons. First of all, the recordings are available to you for life. They'll be in a specific portal for you to access whenever you like. So you can use them to go back and recharge your batteries. Additionally, the sessions that you will have missed, and trust me, you will miss a lot of them because we're here 24/7 for the entire week. So guaranteed you're going to miss something. This allows you to capture the recordings and see whatever you've missed and come back and watch them again and again if you like, and build for you. And you get your own personal World Love Week mug. Now, I can't show you mine because mine is on the way to me, but I gotta tell you that guaranteed you can't throw it away. So go grab your World Love Week VIP All Access Pass right now. Stay tuned, watch your mailbox. Make sure you give us the right shipping address, please. And you're in store for a great treat. Enjoy. I stand for love. Do you? Ladies and gentlemen, Roland Frasier. Hey, Roland.
Hey Ken, how you doing today?
I'm amazed. I'm thrilled, and I'm happy, and I'm speechless. To get, first of all, to get a moment of your time uninterrupted, I assume it's uninterrupted, is miraculous. And I will tell everybody. You years ago in San Francisco at a copywriting conference.
Uncommon and simple writing.
Yep, it was the Dutch auction.
It was. You're right. Yeah, I remember.
And I remember we were sitting across the aisle from each other, and as he's writing copy and sharing what he's written, I'm like, he doesn't need to be here. He should be teaching this, because you have such a great way of expressing what people are saying inside their brains and understanding that, and that gives you a unique ability to do deals and to get things done and to connect with people, which you have done miraculously.
Oh, thanks.
So yeah, I figure, compliment them, get them going, and then we go in for the really hard questions.
All right, I like it.
So you've been just completing an outrageous training called Epic about how people can buy businesses now and where the opportunities are. Let's start there, because I think that's probably the best place people can play, unless you have some other thoughts.
No, wherever you like.
Okay, so best opportunities right now. The market is in a great state of disarray, and where's the opportunities right now?
Well, I think the big opportunities are to give, just to capture, to give and capture a share of voice out here, because there's a big void of leadership of people. A lot of people were taken by complete surprise by everything that happened, and they have just kind of hunkered down, and they're in a fear-based position, and they're worried about what they've lost, and how are they going to be able to make a living, make payments, that kind of stuff on expenses that they've got. What's the future look like? How long is this going to last? Most businesses only have 27 days of cash flow. This is longer than 27 days already. And what does the future look like? So there's all of that. And unfortunately, a lot of folks who have who are or were leaders who had people who looked to them for guidance have frozen. And so I think that like you're doing with this program, for everyone who is willing to step up and show that there is a tomorrow, and that it doesn't look bleak, and that there is hope, and that there are action steps that you can take right now today, and to put forth a positive persona is important. And that is what leadership is. Leadership is being ready in tough times to do the things that others shy away from. And so I think it's great that you're putting on this. I think that everybody else that's participating and sharing the value here and not being compensated for it. I think that the people who are at home, who are investing their time in watching a program like this and all the other things that they're doing to learn, this is what's going to separate the future levels of successful people from the future levels of people who are in the same place that they were when they started, or are in a worse place. And that's really critical. So the big opportunity is to step up as a leader. The big opportunity is to give. Right now, this isn't really a time to take. This is a time to give. But there is a way to give profitably. There is a way to profit ethically. And that's the challenge I'm doing. It's called EPIC, right? Ethical Profits in Crisis. We should all be thinking about that. So the things that I've seen that are working the best right now, one is simply to give what you offer for free for a period of time to people and ask other people to share that, and don't expect anything. Don't require a credit card, just give. And that will help a lot of people because your program, your offer, your service, your product, whatever it is good, right? And that will allow you to build market share, which means that you will be doubling down on being present, and your competition is pulling back on their marketing spend, pulling back on their content creation. So you're out there capturing and being the top of mind voice in your customer's mind once we get past this challenge. And so at Digital Marketer, for example, one of the companies that I own with Brian Dice and Richard Lindner, we gave our $100 a month lab program away for 30 days. And we were able to generate roughly 62,000 new accounts in that business. Now, most of those won't stick. And we're converting that now into paid accounts because we're past that 30-day period. And what's interesting is that normally you would expect about between a 2% and 3% conversion. We're going to end up, I think, around 2.5%. So we would expect about 1,500 accounts paying $100 a month. That's great, right? That's good for us. That's 150,000 a month would be $1.8 million a year. They won't all stick, so let's call it 900,000. Every 900,000 helps, right? So, but what's cool about that is we've built a big list, as you will too if you give away your things for free and provide value. And that list will, over time, be worth a lot of money to us because they will buy things from us and we'll be able to share our content. They'll say good things about us, which will build goodwill. The other cool thing, though, is on the other side, the 60,000 accounts, the 60,000 people that don't stick, right? Those people got ridiculous value and we helped them. And that's very, very fulfilling too. So we're able to profit. We're able to serve some small segment of that group. Going forward, it's going to be significant for us and that company to have that extra money and to have those new customers. But it's also significant to us that we helped all the people who didn't convert. We're getting emails right now from people in Kenya and Bangladesh and all these other places that are saying, I couldn't possibly afford to do this, but this has meant so much to me. And this is going to make a difference to me. And that's ridiculously fulfilling. So that go ahead.
And that's great. That's really awesome. And there's another side to it too, Roland, is that as the existing customers, such as myself, when I see you doing that, my goodwill for you and what you do is increased so much. So it's not just new people, it's the existing people that you're serving.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the thing one. The thing two that's working really well, we've done in a couple of businesses is, and this was done first in a partnership with Jay Abraham. We were on I invited Jay to talk, and we did a Zoom, and or in this case, a StreamYard, and we just gave that. It was just ask us any questions you want. We're both very much strategists and business people, and we figured we could help people out. And we ended up offering. We said that if you're interested, we're going to do a twice a month coaching program where we'll call it a strategic strategic alliance. And so every 2 weeks we'll come on. You ask us all your business strategy, whatever questions, and it's $997 US dollars a month. But we're going to buy your first month for you, so it'll be free again for a month. But the difference in the approach is that this isn't free. We're buying this for you, right? We are buying it for you, which is a cool thing. We are just about to go into converting that into the paid people from the free. We have about 400-ish, I think, people in the program right now. So, who knows what will happen with it? I don't really care. The goal that Jay and I have really isn't to go for the $1,000. It's to generate goodwill and also to generate deal flow. Because if just one of those 400 people turns out to want to have us involved in their company, which is our goal, then we had a big win, and we served the other 399 along the way.
Yeah, it's great marketing. It's service marketing.
It is.
Yeah, I mean, even for us, so putting this together, I had no visions of a whole lot afterwards. I knew it was something I needed to do and didn't really flesh out the future, knowing that it was going to show up.
Right.
That take the leap and build the plane as we're flying.
Yeah.
We've been offered a web TV network.
Yeah.
So now we've got people. Now our participants are like, okay, you want a channel, and so now that's something that we can offer them. And yes, it'll be monetized, but it's also greater influence.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's great when you can help people and profit at the same time. That's really what it's about. Because if you can't profit and all you do is help people, you will eventually. It's the giving tree. If anybody's read that, right? If you give till you have nothing left to give, then that's not really serving people, because you need to take care of yourself along the way. And then the third thing that's been I'm in the middle of right now is a challenge. So I talked to a friend of mine, Pedro Adeo, ADEO, who you should definitely check out, who said that he was doing really good things with challenges. He and another friend of mine, Pete Vargas, Vargas, who does speaker training, is Pete going to be on the show?
No, I haven't been able to connect with him. He'd be great.
Okay. If not, let's get him connected to you. So anyway, they worked with Tony Robbins and Dean Graziosi for KBB, Knowledge Blueprint, and ended up selling over $1 million in those programs using this challenge thing. And so 1 week before the world shut down, I was in Las Vegas with my business partner, Ryan Dice, who was speaking at Grant Cardone's event, his 10X event. And Pedro and Pete happened to be, Pete was speaking and Pedro was in town. So we got together and Pedro broke down his challenge model, and we were like, this is fantastic. And so I think this is great for a story about taking action too, because I had just hired a marketing director for one of my companies, and he was living in Las Vegas, about to move to Austin. And so since he was in Vegas, and they were moving like the next day or something, and I said, is there any way that you could come over? He's like, yeah, which, kudos to him and to his wife for not freaking out about it. So Matt came over, and Matt and Ryan and I sat with Pete and Pedro as they broke down this challenge model. And I said, okay, let's do it. And I was like, Matt, I just hired Matt. I said, let's do it. Let's make this happen. So 5 days later, we launched this thing.
Epic.
And the thing, Epic, Ethical Profits in Crisis. It was called the Epic Challenge. And it's timely because, we wanted it to be tied to how can you profit ethically during this time of crisis. So we did that challenge. We spent a total of $9,700, and we created a 5-day challenge. And Pedro said it should be themed. So we did. One of my specialties is acquiring businesses with no money out of pocket. So we decided to do how to identify, not acquire, but how to identify 5 businesses to acquire for no money out of pocket in 5 days for $55. And the key here is it's a paid challenge, so people have some skin in the game, but it's not a scary price. It's pretty safe to invest $55. And then we went about over delivering as much as we could. So you then do this challenge over 5 days. You deliver content for 2 days, do a Q&A for a day, skip a day on Sunday, do 3 more days of content. And then on the 3rd day, you've delivered this amazing value, and the people should be able to realize the benefit that you promised when you made the offer. But then you make another offer for whatever your program or product is at whatever the price that you feel is appropriate is. And so we went through that, and if I pull up my little trusty stat thing here right now, let's see where we are. We're at $512,780 US for the 2 days that this program has been open. So that's a total surprise to us because we had no idea. Our goal was that we would be at 200,000 at the end of the thing. Now we're only in Friday as we sit here interviewing or talking to each other. And Saturday, we will offer a payment plan. So right now, that's money that we've actually collected. Saturday, we'll offer a payment plan, and then Sunday, we'll close out the offer. So typically, you get your most sales on the day that you close out the offer. But it's crazy. Our page rate was converting at about 57%. Our upsells for the front end offer was 55 into 97 for a VIP experience. That converted at about 20%, and then our back end offer of $200 for some books that we had converted at about 25%. So that's crazy just on the front. So we had about, I think, $97,000 on the front, and if nothing else had happened, we would have been very happy with that. We spent, by the way, it's kind of funny the math on this. We spent $9,700 in advertising. We had a 10 times ROAS, return on ad spend, right? And then now our take rate is that I think it's around 18% of the people who came into the challenge have purchased either a $2,000 or $5,000 program. Now we're all about serving them throughout the whole thing. And there's a million little bits of strategy. And Pedro, you should definitely look him up and ask him if you want to.
I definitely want to hear that. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. And if you want, if I haven't already introduced you to him, or if he's not on here, he should be on here for sure, Ken.
Yeah, but I love that. I appreciate it.
Yeah. That's just been shocking. And so we think we're going to end up between 700,000 and, on the high side, maybe even $1 million out of this. And of course, that was with no support. I don't have a big email list or anything. I think we have 500 people on our email list in that company, but we weren't planning for it to be any big thing. Now I own bigger companies.
We got good numbers.
We're launching.
I saw the number of people in that Facebook group because I'm in it. I bought it. And it was 740 people or whatever in that. I'm like, holy mackerel, that's huge. Yeah. And I will also say, just for those that are watching this, the content that Roland has put in place, it's staggering. It's so great. I mean, it's life-changing. So anyone who would not go forward is an idiot because you provided massive value for not just the 2 days. Everything you've done has been great value. And then adding extra Q&As as bonuses because you couldn't get through all the questions it was great. And then a pajama party that you did, just the whole piece of it was really, really well done.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. And the goal is, your goal has to start out, I'm going to deliver value and I'm going to help people. And so you shouldn't do something like this saying, I'm going to not give them the good stuff. We gave them everything they need to do this. I never want to be one of those people who offers an incomplete program. So we gave them that. There obviously are lots more things that you figure that's a total of about 5 hours of training. You can't possibly know all of the nuances of buying a business and everything that goes with that during that time. But you can certainly deliver some value that will allow people to accomplish things. And we already have people that are doing deals, which is fantastic in the group. So, so step one, start with a really great product. You have to provide something of value. But if you can, then this format is one that I think is really worth trying.
Well, actually, let me ask you a question about that because we haven't talked further about that. But what's your plan for that $55? Or you got the recordings of it all. You want to make that available so that you can sell a back end after that? Because that might be something we could offer to our people here.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'd be happy. I want to keep it as a challenge, but what we're going to do is we're going to do it again to our big list. So we have, I think about 1 million people in digital marketers list, and we have other lists as well. So this was kind of just holy goodness, that's amazing. Like no support from the company, just me and 2 people that really did this thing. And it took off like this. Imagine if we poured the gasoline on it of this other thing. So Yeah, we absolutely. Let's chat about that and we'll figure out what.
For sure.
I think the key though is, and Pedro told me this, is that that people want to not do it live, and they want to to record it and turn it into a course and all that. And the key of making the micro commitments over those 5 days or 7 days or 30 days or however long you do your challenge is what really gets people invested, and it shows them the proof that they can do it. They build momentum, and they see that what you're teaching is of value and does actually work. So by the time you get to day 5, 7, 30, whatever you decide you want to do, they believe. They believe.
Yeah. Yeah, and you've done a great job of getting that done. Some of the nuances of participation, where there are bonus bribes, and you've got to do your homework, and and so on and so on. There's a whole bunch of different benchmarks that you've got to achieve to do that, and the engagement level is stunning. There's a contest. Who posts? It's just so smart, and people are posting out. It's like they're living online. It's like, how would you have a life because they want the bonus?
Yeah, exactly.
It's really well done, and I'll tell you, it's interesting. My intention in what we were talking about today was really about buying businesses, because in today's marketplace, I see just a massive benefit there, right? Yes. But the strategy behind what you did to create that course, and how anyone that's watching this right now can take what they know, even if you don't know what the hell you're talking about, even if you don't think that you know enough, have enough experience, whatever. If you're a waiter who's out of a job, or a flight attendant, or a plumber, or whatever, plumbers are definitely never going to be out of a job. But if you, right, especially now. But if you're one of those at-risk careers, you can absolutely do the same model that Roland's talking about, because you can bring in someone as an expert to fill that shoe. You don't have to be the one that delivers everything.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely.
So, but I will tell you that, and I'm a big fan of buying stuff. I've been a real estate guy, as you know, and so we began when we were, it's a long story, buying properties, and I was training real estate investors. So I'm a big believer in buying and doing deals. Love that. Doing deals on businesses right now, oh my gosh, I think it's the best thing in the world.
I agree. Yeah, there's so many, and it is really truly helping people, because the people who are selling are frustrated, not willing. They might be older, they might not be willing to go through another recessionary time. They might not just have the mental fortitude. They might get sick. There might be deaths. A lot of people are actually not going to make it through this, because it's a really serious challenge that we have through the virus. And a lot of people might relocate to help other people, family or things like that. And then, sometimes when the times get tough, it can bring out the challenges of dealing with other people. So there'll be partnership disputes and things like that. And those businesses would literally just go away if there wasn't somebody to step in and take them. So these aren't really troubled businesses. These are troubled people in troubled times dealing with challenges. And so when you come in and you help them not have this thing anymore, but you also save the business, you allow them to have the legacy of the business that they owned or started, you allow the employees to continue to work, and you help the economy because you keep another business open, right? You keep people employed, and you keep money running through the system. That's a win for all of us.
Absolutely. And of course, teaching and empowering people to do that is the fundamental part of all of it. But it's 100% true. We really can make those changes, and so and those of us that help the people that are frozen are the ones that really, as you said, become the true leaders of the future. I tell people right now that we're zero-based budgeting our futures, and we're starting from scratch. And even if you were the biggest loser in the world in your mind, now you have an opportunity to completely regrow.
You do, absolutely.
It's phenomenal. So we have just about another minute or so left. If you want to give somebody like one or two, here's what you should do next, what you should do now, what would you tell them?
Well, I think, like, just generally, and if you have a business, or even if you don't, it's all about runway right now, because we don't know how long this thing is going to last. And so everything that you can do in a startup, we have a thing called runway, which is what burn rate, how much are you going negative available right now? So if you're going negative in cash right now, and you have an amount of money that's available, you divide the amount that's available by the amount of negative, and that tells you what's your runway. So if you find that you've got $20,000 and you're going negative $10,000 a month, you have 2 months of runway. So I think a lot of this is about how can you extend your runway? And the way to extend it is either reduce your expenses so that your burn is less or goes away as a negative, increase your income so that your burn is less or becomes positive, or increase the amount of money that you have available to you to support you through the burn, right? So I think that the easiest thing right now is to go and get, go get credit, get credit cards, get loans. If the government is offering any kind of stimulus or support, all of that is important right now. So having as much cash available to you, whether it's in terms of just cash or actual credit that's available, that's going to be a big deal. And then going through your expenses and looking at what is your daily, we do this when we do a turnaround business. We'll go in a business that's having trouble. The very first thing we do is we'll chart out 14 days of cash flow, cash in, cash out every single day. We'll look at every expense and then we'll say, which of these are not helpful or necessary to the business? Now, you want to be careful because if you are being educated to help you do well in the future, if you have a mentor, if you're part of a mastermind of people that will help support you, if you're, looking for training online, if you've got a business that you need to have space for, all of those things are still helpful and necessary expenses. But all of us that are entrepreneurs have expenses that just kind of creep up on us. It's like, that's a cool software, right? I'm gonna subscribe to that, and then you never do anything with it. And just cutting that out, and it will help you. So I think those three things that getting runway and really knowing your cash flow and looking at those 3 points are important. That's really what I would do first. There's a lot of other stuff we can talk about, but that's really it. Is how can you survive through what we've got right now so that you can thrive afterwards?
Amen. Roland, it's been a pleasure. What's the best way people want to reach you and get a hold of you? What's the best way that they can contact you?
Well, thanks for asking. I have a podcast called Business Lunch that's on iTunes and Spotify and all those places where I talk about all kinds of business stuff. I'm everywhere on social at / my name, Roland Frasier, which is, I think, down here because StreamYard is really cool. And also the business buying thing is done at ethicallyprofit.com. So any of those places would be good places to find.
Nice URL. And I will tell you that business lunch should be called business dinner or business buffet because it is so freaking great. Honestly, I run with you when I'm running now because my gym is closed. And so when I go down to Sydney Harbor and so on, and it's like, you come with me, by the way, just so you know, you're on time.
I haven't experienced the weight loss or calorie burn benefits yet, but maybe if you'd run a little bit faster with me, maybe that would translate. But
right now we're at jog, crawl, walk. Okay. But yeah, I mean, between you and the other people that you've had on Business Lunch, it's so good. It truly is. So if you're not listening to Roland's podcast, honest to God, you must. I would say it's mandatory. He had outstanding content. So with that said, I could go on forever, but we both have stuff to do, and we have a tight schedule today. Professor Frasier, namaste. Thank you so much.
Namaste. Thank you.
We'll talk soon.
So that was just another amazing World Love Week session. Now, a lot of our sessions have come from Opportunitython, which was our record-breaking event, which we did a few months back. Now, Opportunitython really focused about the opportunities that are presenting themselves during the time of pandemic. And frankly, what a great way to have an attitude of love, of sharing, of giving, of contribution. I stand for love. Do you?
I stand for love. Do you? Hey, this is Captain Lou, and I stand for love, baby. Do you? Do you? Do you? Do you? Yes. Do you? Do you? Do you? Do you? Do you?